It's interesting. When I was a child, I had quite a few spiritual experiences, and all of them were connected. All of them were connected to light. Like quite often at night when I was sleeping, I felt as if I was in this world of light. It's like golden light, a bit like a sunset or a sunrise, with little shining lights in there, a bit like stars. And when I woke up, I felt incredibly peaceful. In fact, it was so lovely. Every night I hoped I would experience that. And I had a few more experiences like that. And I was brought up in one of the main traditions from a Jewish background, actually. But I didn't find that there was things that I could get a clear understanding about. And that was really important to me. So when I was a child, there was no one that I could speak to about my experiences. And so I started looking at, I suppose, what we call spirituality. And that was really fast-tracked when I started work as a young dentist in Bradford. And that was very challenging. And again, I was very new, and I can remember going into the toilet at one point and putting my hands in the head and thinking, oh my God, I can't stand this. And again, I had quite a powerful experience of peace and light. It was almost as if, it was almost like an orb of light just kind of came, sat in my forehead, and I just felt so peaceful. It was unbelievable, because I didn't know what it was. And so I was quite desperate to find out what it was. And then it was interesting then, 6 months later, coming across the Brahma Kumaris, which is now my spiritual tradition, I came across a concept of spirituality that was very similar to what I'd experienced. I found that the concept of God, the concept of the divine in my tradition, I just felt very uncomfortable with the idea of a punishing God, a jealous God, and so that didn't sit with me at all. And so when I came across the Brahma Kumaris, their concept of God was a benevolent God, benevolent being, and a being of light. I thought, oh, surprise, that's interesting. And so I was described a benevolent being that had a form of light, so not physical, so not the old man on a cloud you see in the Old Testament, but a being of light, basically a source of wisdom, and a beautiful idea of like being like a seed. So that I was explaining a beautiful concept of like the world being like a tree. So you got the seed, the trunk, the branches, and the leaves, and so all the different religions, like a tree of humanity, basically. All the different religions, the branches representing the religions, and I suppose the leaves representing the souls, and then got the idea of the trunk, where there's a sense of unity. And what I learned from that is that all the religions are connected, because we're all part of one tree. But if we forget that we're from one source, then that's when we get a lot of differences. And so the actual understanding was very appealing to me, because it was based on understanding, and that was really important to me. I didn't want to just accept things and believe things and do things because I was told to do it, and certainly not things based on a fear. You know, you've got to do this, otherwise you will have consequences. I wanted something that I could understand. And then the Brahma Kumaris was very appealing to me because it was emphasizing your own personal experience. So after the understanding, I had a practice of meditation, which is called Raj Yoga meditation, sometimes called the yoga of the mind, in which I was building up my own personal experience, so that it wasn't just philosophy, concept, it was my own personal experience. And the other thing which really appealed to me about the Brahma Kumaris tradition was that a very strong emphasis on application. So what do I do with that at the business end of my life, where the rubber hits the ground? Can I apply it? Sometimes people say, well, is Brahma Kumaris a religion? For us, it's spiritual. and what I would define by spirituality, because this is part of the meditation, that I understand that my true identity isn't physical. So I'm spiritual. Some people would call that the soul or the spirit or the consciousness or the life force. And I'm in this physical body, so in the world, but essentially I'm spirit. And I'm connected to the source, which is God, which we also see as spirit. And that was a beautiful practice of meditation. So it felt more like a study than just a belief system.